Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Batter. I'm so happy to be back for 2024. And I want you to get ready for this episode. I want you to get ready. Of course, this episode's going to be real storytelling. And I'm going to share my experience and I'm going to paint the best picture that I can of what I saw and felt and went through. And I already know that in sharing this episode is going to be extremely activating for whoever listens to it. And there's nothing to fear in that. You know, we always find things when we are ready. So if you're listening to this episode, you're ready for this activation. But I want to let you know that I am going to go into detail, and this is the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. But there were moments of total darkness, and moments where I was terrified. So I want you to know that before we get in, that there will be shades of darkness in this episode. It's all love and light though, you know. Well, it's not, but like the outcome is really beautiful, okay? So I want to give you that heads up. Secondly, before we dive into this, if you are going through a Kundalini Awakening, probably listening to my experience right in this moment might not be the best thing, like because I am going to share all the depths of it, unless you're ready to hear it. If you're going through a Kundalini Awakening, just a few things that I wish I had heard, sooner. First of all, it's completely normal. It's a normal part of the human evolution. It is something to strive for. It's not a milestone in the sense that, I've achieved this, therefore, like, there's no hierarchy sort of thing. Like, we're not trying to get anywhere, but achieving this is part of the human evolution, right? It is to be celebrated and embraced. It is nothing to fear. That's the biggest thing that I want to get across. There's nothing to fear if you have a Kundalini Awakening. And I see now, which I'll explain in my story, I've had many moments of awakening. We all do. We all grow and we mature. So we all are going through this experience anyway, okay? Just when my Kundalini Awakening, what's called the spinal sweep, when it was so big and intense, that's when I was like, what the fuck is going on? Am I losing my mind? Okay, so I've done the preface that I wanted. And one more thing, if you are able to, I invite you to listen to this episode with headphones, like in the dark. I invite you to really see the things that I describe, because I just have a feeling that that's the kind of vibe of this episode. Like you'll want to sit down and fully absorb it. If you can't and you're a busy gal or a busy guy and you're out driving or whatever, that's fine. This is not a meditation, so you can listen to this while you're, doing things. Okay, so let's dive in to my Kundalini Awakening, which was unexpected and I didn't even know what it was. What is reality really made of? I'm your host Carla, and welcome to Cosmic Batter, the podcast where we explore stories of the unknown and my experience of becoming psychic. This is for anyone who realizes that there is so much more to the human existence. Okay, so let's dive in to my Kundalini Awakening, which was unexpected and I didn't even know what it was. So we're going to go back a couple of steps to December. So in December, I was working really hard, showing up in my business. I was really excited about my Flow Living program, which I had available, and I was then planning my next offers. And I have a bigger offer in mind. I'm going to do a psychic development course. This is still happening, so you've heard it here first. But so yeah, I know I'm going to do a psychic development course, and it will be proper, like a 6-month course at least. Course, program, group, whatever you want to call it. That's my big thing that I'm working towards. And then in December, I thought, okay, to get people in that program, I should offer a free workshop and then like a 3-day paid event in January, whatever. And I figured out these steps to support the bigger offer, which is a normal thing that you do in business. Okay, but I was working very, very hard. I was excited. And then in December, my spirit team said, yo, you need to chill out and slow down. You need to slow down. And I said, okay, fine, I'll rest. So I went and stayed. We have a caravan by the beach. I went and stayed there for a couple of days, read my book, didn't really do anything. And I realized I had created stuff that I wasn't super passionate about. So I'm super passionate about this psychic development program that I have, super, super passionate about that. And that makes me feel nervous excitement, like, oh my God, this is really big and expansive for me to do that. That would be so fun. That's, soul aligned. And I realized that at this time in December, these 2 little workshop things that I had put together, I actually wasn't that excited about. And I was doing it because I thought I had to get people in the door, sort of thing. And I was like, oh, I see that I have done that, which is an easy sort of trap to fall into, like creating stuff just to get by, creating things to sell. There's still good intentions behind it, but I was like, cool, I'm not that passionate about those smaller offers. I'm going to let them go. I'm going to choose to rest instead and nourish myself and I guess focus on this bigger offer. And I could tell my spirit team was like, hey, and see, I don't even know if I fully resonate with the term spirit team anymore, but spirit or God or the universe, my higher self, anyway, it's sort of challenged some of my words that I use, but the feeling is the same. Anyway, so then my spirit team said to me, I could tell that they wanted me to focus on the bigger picture, the bigger offer, and that I was doubting myself by trying to put together something smaller. And I was almost like wasting time and playing it safe, really playing it safe with things that were easy to me. So I'm like, all right, time to let that go. I need to step up into my psychic development. I then committed to resting over the holidays, which was amazing. And I'm so proud of myself because I'm someone that typically struggles to rest. Okay, and then we came to January. Holidays were amazing. January, I was really relaxed in my business. I have, some consistent money coming through. I sold some psychic readings for the new year. I was like, wow, this is a really great position to be in. And I trust that my business will grow again and expand when the time is right. I've been told not to push, so I'm just going to continue relaxing. But I noticed instead, I was like, okay, I'm going to go really hard with my fitness. I'm going to go for runs. I'm going to surf. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to work out. So I was doing that. I was like working out a lot. And again, my spirit team was like, hey, we need you to slow down. So, and the first thing they did, actually, it was in December. I went for a run and I was running like, I'm not thinking about business, la, la, la. And then I started to think about business and things that I could offer. And as soon as running, thought about business, and suddenly this piece of wood was up in front of me and I fucking tripped. I was like, ah! And I tripped so bad and I hurt my knee. Like, it's fine now, but I hurt myself. And my spirit team was like, hey, we said stop thinking about business, rest. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So that part was in December. But then again in January, what happened? In January, I was staying at the beach again, trying to relax. I went for a walk, and then I saw a bar, like a metal bar that you can hang from. And I thought, oh, I will hang from that because hanging is really good for you. It's good for your grip strength and your shoulders and everything. So I jumped up to grab this bar, and I kid you not, I don't know what the heck happened, but I jumped up and my hands just didn't close on the bar. It's like I tapped it. My feet swung out from underneath me, and literally I was like, "Bah!" And I fell back. Again, I was fine, just severely embarrassed. But I was like, what the fuck? Like, my hands just didn't grab the bar. And again, my spirit team said, hey, we said to relax, including like in fitness. I was like, all right, I'll relax. There were a few more like health related things. Like one day I was with my nana and pa, and they measured my blood pressure, and it was really high, like in the orange and red zone. And we measured my blood pressure a couple of times because obviously I'm very healthy. Like my blood pressure normally isn't high, and it just continued to stay high. And that scared the shit out of me. I was like, what's going on with my body? Okay. Yeah, and like I think I got a headache at some point, and then of course I Googled it and I typed in my blood pressure and Google was like, blood pressure at this level can cause stroke, heart attack, or sudden organ failure. And I was like, oh my God, is my body actually in a really serious state? Like, how did this happen? When did this happen? What's going on? And this thought, like, am I a ticking time bomb? Like, what is going on? It was really scary. Pretty sure I had a panic attack at that particular time about my blood pressure because I just thought, what is going on? I keep getting told to rest. I'm not being allowed to do what I want to do. What the fuck? Where's the free will at, yo? Yeah, I was like, what is going on? And it was really scary. So after that, the blood pressure incident, I then booked a healing session with someone, and we figured out why I was so triggered about my health and in that situation. And essentially from the emotional perspective, we realized that because I was not controlling my business and I was actually trusting my business for once, I had then shifted that pattern and I was controlling my health and fitness. And behind that, there was this feeling of just not being good enough and having to prove myself by doing these things. Like I still wasn't allowing myself to fully rest. And so that session was amazing. That was with Emily Shidiak. She's one of the healers that I work with. That was amazing. So I thought, great, I've done the healing on that. I understand why I was triggered. Maybe I understand why I've been stressed recently. I'm going to completely rest. Okay, but then I had this ongoing feeling of everything being really intense. And I had actually noticed this feeling before, but I feel like I hadn't quite acknowledged it. I guess before that, I wasn't fully conscious of it. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Yeah, I couldn't quite put my finger on it before. But then, yeah, I had this feeling that things were becoming intense. At some time, like within this time frame in January, I also had a bodywork healing session with my friend Taylor McIntosh. Highly recommend her for bodywork. And I actually didn't know what it was when I went. I just thought, oh my God, my friend, she's a new friend of mine, healer. I would love to have a session. And what it is, it's like a type of massage. And whenever she touches like different parts of your body, you're able to vocally release any of the tension or energy stored in that part of your body. And you might have seen videos of people doing this in like Bali, where they're screaming and like letting all of this energy out. And I've seen those videos and I get it in practice, but I've never experienced that. And so this time I was having a bodywork session, not internationally, not anywhere quote unquote like special, like it's at her house in a beautiful special space. But you know, it's just within Melbourne. Anyway, and so I had this bodywork session with Taylor, and I was amazed at how powerful it was. And how do I say, like, it really hit the spot. So I love health, which I've already mentioned. And I would get things like physio. I used to get chiro, massage, acupuncture. I used to get all of those things really regularly to look after my body, to help shift any tension. But I found in the last year to 2 years that physio, massage and stuff, it just hasn't been getting the energy out. Like, I would go and get a massage, they'd knead out like all of my knots, and I could just feel like, why are we pushing my body around? Like, it's starting to feel like that muscle is tight for a reason. Why is that muscle tight? The energy is getting stored in there for a reason, and so massaging it out isn't always going to be the solution. Like, it started to feel like I was just pushing my body around. So then to have this body work session, so different modality, to have body work, and she would touch a part of my body, and then I could pretty much scream and yell. And, you know, as you go through it, you just become more relaxed and vocal. And I could then feel the energy leaving my body. So I could feel those knots dissipate without having to push and, you know, hurt yourself. Massage and stuff is still great. This is just my experience recently. So had this bodywork session, could feel the energy and the tension leaving my body. And I guess I allowed myself to go really deep in that session, like to go further into a meditative state. And also Taylor is obviously amazing for holding that space. And I realized that at first I would say yell out stuff from my own life, being really hard on myself, feeling isolated on my path sometimes, feeling like people don't understand me, like releasing my own stuff. And then I felt the energy come from deeper within me, like the tip of my tippy toe. This energy would come out, and I was like, this isn't me. This isn't me that's just yelling right now. Like, this is energy coming out from my ancestors, for my family, for, what was I going to say? Like, ancestors, like past generations. Oh, and past lives. So I could feel this energy coming out of me that was not mine, that was stored in my body, that didn't need to be stored there anymore. And I had really amazing visuals in this bodywork session as well. Like, I did sort of get visited by my ancestors, and I felt a lot more certain of my path as well. So it was really beautiful, massive release. I felt so invigorated. My body felt so opened up. And yeah, I felt really certain of my path, especially with the healing work that I do. And I could tell in that session, I got invited to go further into the healing work, into the healing and spiritual realm. And I saw again, I feel like I'm constantly evolving, which is good, but sometimes it's a lot. I could see in that bodywork session again that I had been playing it safe in my business. I still wasn't fully claiming the magic that I offer, the medicine that I offer, that my healing work and my abilities in the spiritual realm are special and they are worthy, and like, especially with that, to again let go of any controlling practices in business. That's just not for me, and it's not on my path. For me, it's about knowing what I offer and who I am and how powerful it is, and the people will come. That's how it works for me on my path. The people will come. It's magnetism, it's trust, it's manifestation, whatever. And this is something I've been thinking about a lot, actually, how we have different energy centers and we each create our own reality in a slightly different way. Yet at the same time, we can all learn from each other. Like, one of my old coaches, Jessica Vieira, she's now a multimillionaire, and she is very structured, paid advertising, tracks the data, very, very like a physical approach, and it's been so successful for her. And when I did that approach, it helped me to set up the systems, but it did not attract in for me like what I was trying to build or what I needed, which I find so fascinating. And at the same time, working with her absolutely changed my life and was an important step on my path, even though I feel we have quite opposing like energy centers, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so for me in this bodywork session, it was really profound, released so much, saw some things, interacted with my sort of ancestors. I knew they were there, and I accepted that invitation to step further into magic and mysticism. Okay, and then coming back to these sort of health scares that I had where my spirit team was telling me to slow down and everything was feeling intense. So after I then had that panic attack about having high blood pressure, and also that was a shock in itself. Like, I have had a panic attack before, but these are not commonplace for me. Even anxiety, like, I do this work all the time. I'm always feeling things. Like, it was out of the blue. Had the healing session, felt like I processed it. The next day, I went to the beach with my mom, and we were at a cafe. And I'm sitting at the cafe, and we were just talking, and I was like, wow, it's really beautiful here. Like, this beach has such beautiful colors. And oh my goodness me, the beach is really bright. And oh my God, the sky is almost looking purple. Like, what is going on? Except I didn't react like that. I was just having that internal monologue. And to be completely honest with you, it was like being on psilocybin mushrooms or acid. And that was really scary to me because I obviously was completely sober. Okay, the screen just froze, but it says it's all right. It was really scary because I was completely sober. And as I said earlier, I've been resting. So I was like, where is this coming from? So I stayed calm. I told myself, you know what? It's probably the planets. And I'm just very sensitive to the planets. Like, it's very energetically heightened right now. I just need to go home and relax. And so I went home, kept to myself. I think I just like watched Netflix, relaxed. And I did that for the next couple of days and I felt pretty normal. So I think I was still, it was really hard to put into words in that moment because to acknowledge how I was feeling in that moment, that in itself was really scary. So I was just focused on staying grounded and calm and not stressing myself out. That's what I was focused on. Okay, so I thought I was fine after a couple of days. I went to our caravan at the beach, and that's when I think I realized I was really starting to get some massive downloads. And I talk to the universe all the time, but these downloads were big. Like, I would sometimes just feel the oneness of everything, and I would just know things. And additionally, this is something else that was really scary about it. Apart from everything still looking kind of bright, I started to feel like the observer all the time. So when you meditate, you have your racing mind, like you see your thoughts passing by in your mind, and you get taught that you are not your thoughts. It's a common teaching. Because you're not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just going fucking crazy all the time, and they come from everywhere. You are the observer watching the thoughts. And I've experienced that in meditation plenty of times. But this was me going about my day to day and feeling like the observer. And this is where it begins to get a little bit dark, and it felt dark because it felt like Carla was just a pinprick of who I really am, like the universe. And so it was like Carla was like in front of me and I was behind her. And that was it. It's so hard to explain. Like, it was powerful, and I knew that I was the universe, but I was so scared. You could say my ego was scared. I was so scared because I was like, what if I stay here forever and I'm now like disassociated from Carla? This is how people lose their minds. And the term like derealization crossed my mind, like, because it even felt kind of foreign to be in my body. The word derealization crossed my mind. That really scared me. And then the term psychosis crossed my mind, and that scared the absolute shit out of me. I was like, am I fucking experiencing psychosis? What is going on? And I'm gonna have to pause this because the recording keeps like starting. Okay, I'm back. So the term psychosis crossed my mind, and that was so scary because I have always felt, for the most part, I have always felt really grounded in my psychic abilities. I've always found them fun and playful, and I'm curious about the spirit realm. I've seen entities and things, and it's just not a big deal to me. I've had visions, and it's not a big deal. And I also can tell what is a vision and what is like real physical reality. If you could see it, which I'm sure a lot of you actually can, if you could see it, you would understand. Like when you see a ball of energy, it's with your third eye for the most part. So your physical eyes will see just a normal space in front of you, but your third eye just knows, and you can see in your mind that ball of energy. And it's like, oh, there's an entity, go away. Like, not a big deal at all. I have seen things with my physical eyes, but you just know, like it's actually a part of our reality. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay, but then to be having this most recent experience and feeling myself very far away, that was scary. And again, I didn't want to actually admit quite how I was feeling or sort of talk about it with anyone because I was really scared, and I was like, I don't want to be crazy. I do not want to be losing my mind. So I'm at our caravan at the beach, trying to keep myself grounded and sit with it and be like, it will pass. I just feel anxious for some reason. Like I didn't really know how to explain it. I remember I put on my Instagram story, like, I am the portal to the other side. And I made a joke where I said like, right now I feel like a portal to the other side. And all I can say to my mom is I feel stressed. Like, because I thought, oh, Instagram will understand that joke. But I literally did feel like a portal to the other side. And I didn't really want to, like I said, tell some people in case it wasn't supported. Anyway, down the beach, I feel pretty good. I'm still meditating and things. Like I said, I'm looking after myself. I'm eating, doing everything you're supposed to do, drinking water. And then this is actually quite funny. One day, I had been avoiding coffee, like because of the blood pressure situation. I was like, I better avoid coffee. And then it was a Saturday morning, and I said to my spirit team, I said, hey, can I have a coffee? They said no. And I was like, fuck you guys, I have free will. I'm going to have a coffee and I'm going to feel normal. I'm going to enjoy myself. So I had a coffee, and pretty much immediately, like, my heart was going pretty fast. And I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that because everything's felt intense lately. Whatever, I'm sure it will be fine. And then I had a friend call me. It's 111 as I look at the clock. I had a friend call me, and we spoke about her, and then she said, how have you been feeling? And I said, you know what? It's actually been really weird. I've been really connected to the universe. I've been getting all these downloads. I feel really connected to my path and my purpose. And I remember it felt intense as well because I could feel so much of the future, and I was having visions of my future. And I said to her, like, it's quite intense because, like, I want to tell people certain things. Like, I want to share some of this stuff with them, but I will not take away their experience of the future, if that makes sense. Like, I could tell a lot of these visions about my life were just for me, but then, like I'm having to hold it all to myself. So I shared this with my friend, and she's beautiful, but she was like, oh, I'd just be careful who you tell that to, because that's pretty out there and not everybody will understand. Which is true, and that's essentially what I had already been doing. But I then got off this call, and then those fears of psychosis, derealization, losing touch with reality, those fears became really overwhelming for me again. The same as when I thought I had high blood pressure. I thought I was having another panic attack. And I said, oh my God, where is this coming from? Like, I feel really scared. My heart is racing. I can tell like stuff is happening with my body, like what is going on. And I messaged someone else, another friend of mine who is really deep in the spirit realm also. And I literally said, I'm scared. Like, please help me. I'm scared. And get yourself friends where you can admit fucking how you feel in your darkest times. So I said, I'm scared. And she said, this is a death. Go into it. And that was exactly what I needed to hear. And I already knew that to be true because the same thing applies with our emotions. We can't run away from our emotions. We can't suppress them. The only way out is through, like to let them pass, to feel them. So I said, okay, I'm fucking scared, but I'm going into this. And additionally, I really didn't have a choice because my back started to cramp, like my back and the back of my neck. And it's like I was being forced to just lay down. Like this is the thing, it was divine. Like it didn't necessarily feel divine, but it was divine, the divine. So my back is cramping, my body, whatever. And so I lay down in bed, I start crying and sobbing, and I'm saying, I'm so scared. I don't know what's going on. I can fucking barely open my eyes. Everything is bright. Everything is just light has emanating out of it. My back is cramping, like I'm being forced down. What the hell? And so I just admitted, like I just let that fear come out of me. Similar to every other fucking healing session I've ever had, same as that bodywork session that I had with Taylor, I then started to feel that fear that was in my body and letting it come out, letting it be expressed, letting it be felt, the fear, the sadness, the grief, all of it. And I know now this was a purge. This was a releasing of things that is not mine anymore. And it was actually like doing me a massive favor. So I went full surrender and I felt everything. And I'm laying in bed with my eyes closed. And after some time of the feeling, the crying, the fear, I then just knew, oh my God, I'm actually so safe right now. And I've just been gently being guided here for like 2 weeks, like because I had been avoiding it. I've been gently being guided here. And then things just started happening. My ancestors, so I have my eyes closed. This is all in the true reality. I don't know what to call it. My ancestors came and they were around me, and I'm pretty sure my ancestors first put their hands over me and were healing me, and they appeared as they were around me on the bed, and they appeared as like blue, I guess, outlines of people. So they didn't have distinct facial features. They didn't have sort of like clothes or anything, but they weren't actually people. They were like the outline, the rough outline, but blue and I guess shiny. And then I could see my physical body, and then I could see my soul, or I don't know what else to call it, my energy body on top of my physical body. So like my energy body was out of my physical body. So this is an out of body experience, I guess. My energy body was on top of my physical body, and my ancestors did psychic surgery. So they were cutting and chopping and changing my energy body. And they did that with my permission. I checked that they were of the light, but at the same time, it did happen very fast. But I knew that they were my ancestors. And I think another thing that I came out of this experience with is like, trust your gut. Trust your gut. It is possible to interact with entities and things of like a negative vibration. But if you know in your fucking gut of guts that it is your ancestors or God, or like, you have to trust yourself above all. Your word is law, so you can trust yourself. Okay, and the reason why that's so important to say is because this experience was divine, and me rejecting it initially and trying to push it away, that was making it scary, when it was not actually a scary experience. The same goes for all these things. And I feel like I have an understanding of how psychosis actually happens, where people consistently reject like where they're being led. I'm sure there's more to it, okay? Just putting it out there. Anyway, so my ancestors came and they did surgery on me, and I've heard of psychic surgery before, so I knew it was an upgrade. I knew I was safe. And yeah, I already was having major visions of my future. I saw a lot more of them, the ways that I'm being called forward in leadership, in empowering people on their own spiritual journey, their healing journey, changing the way that we live life. And it was big. But yeah, and so then I had feelings of bliss and like, oh my God, there was actually nothing to be afraid of. Wow. Like, my ancestors just came. What? Slay. And that was cool because I am in a psychic development program. And when I started in this program, I then became curious about my ancestors and like, who were we before we came to Australia? What is my cultural history beyond Australia? Because it all matters, like it's all relevant. And so I had been wondering about my ancestors for a while. So then for them to be there with me, upgrading me, I was like, wow, they've been here this whole time. They've been guiding me this whole time. And I love that. And I especially think that that's powerful because I remember when I was a little kid wondering like who my ancestors were. Why don't we really have any stories of our ancestors? Like I do distinctly remember that. So it was beautiful now to be able to interact with them and know that it's very real, despite our culture not really celebrating that. Yeah. But I was exhausted after that round. So I thought, woohoo, it's over. I'm alive. I messaged my friend like, hey, I'm okay. It was actually crazy. I'll tell you about it later. Pack my things because I was at the beach, as I said, and I drove home. I thought I don't want to be alone. The next day was a Sunday. I woke up and I thought, I feel normal again. Thank God. And then my mom said, do you want to go to the beach for a swim? I said, yes. I start driving and mom and I are chatting and music is playing. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, oh my God, everything looks really intense again. I think the cars don't look like normal cars. It looks like when you're tripping on shrooms and they look like bubbles or plastic, like they don't look real. And I could feel then that anxiety building in me again, like reality doesn't look like it normally looks. And as I'm driving, this all happened very quickly. I thought, can I be normal and continue? And I was like, fuck no, bitch. No, I cannot drive. I cannot drive right now. So I pulled over straight away. And I thought, I just have to own this. And based on what happened yesterday, I just have to go into it again. And my fear was like, oh my God, I hope this isn't happening to me fucking every day for the rest of my life, because then I won't be able to function and maybe I am crazy. But I thought, well, yesterday I went into it and I was okay. So I'm just going to do that again. So I pulled over. I said, Mum, I'm sorry, I'm really anxious again. I need you to drive me home. Fortunately, she did. My mom's amazing. She was like, are you okay? Because this isn't normal. But I told her a little bit about what I had been seeing. And I even said to my mom, I am scared of like being called schizophrenic, but I am certain that I am not, and that the divine is trying to communicate with me and I just need to go home. And fortunately, my mom was like this isn't normal. I hope that you get support for this. But mum was like, I know you're not crazy. And again, this really brings into question even the word crazy. Yeah, that's another conversation. So mum drove me home straight away. I went into my room, turned the lights off, put an eye mask on, put some music on that can help like guide healing. Started crying again, this fear. How is this happening again? I'm already so tired. Like, what's going on? And everything was emanating light. And especially out of me, I said I would be specific in this. So I'm going to be specific. Like I would even with my eyes open, but I would shut my eyes and it was just light everywhere and I was light and I had light coming up my spine and like exploding out of my head. And the sort of issue, like why it was so overwhelming is because I couldn't shut my eyes and be at peace in the dark. You know, like I was shutting my eyes and it was like, poof, bright. So again, I just was a bit afraid, like I'm only human, oh my God. So makes sense. And I realized like how scared I was to lose my vision. And I have done psychedelics before, like I haven't done them for ages. I have not needed to. But I've done psychedelics before and there have been times where it's been like unpleasant and uncomfortable. And I look back now and it's because I was with people that I didn't resonate with anymore. Not their fault, like my fault for being in that position. Like nobody's fault really. And then having your vision be moving and seeing all that energy, you want to fight against the visuals. And I have felt stressed about that in the past, if that makes sense. So then I'm having this experience, absolutely fucking sober, light pouring out of everything, feeling like I'm on acid or something. My body is full of tingles and my heart is pounding, like all sorts of weird feelings. And then again, being really scared, like I can't see properly. Like, I'm so scared I'm going to lose my vision. Why can't I see through my eyes? Like, I just want to be able to see or to shut my eyes and to, like, be in darkness. So I realized that was a big fear of mine. And eventually, I was already trying to surrender into it. But then eventually, I said, all right, divine, take me where we need to go. Like, I fucking let go of my vision. Let go of trying to see anything. I don't care what the time is. I don't care how long we have to be here for. Like, just take me where you need to go. Where we need to go. And as soon as I said that, I heard a bird outside. And I knew that God was with me. I don't really care if that sounds weird. Like, I'm not religious. I just knew, though, that God was with me. I'm with a group of people now that they would just straight up call it Kundalini, like that Kundalini was with me and guiding me, and I do resonate with that as well, but I'm sort of new to that. So I heard that bird and I knew God was with me, and I then also had these other realizations that like I knew I'm going through a ceremony. This is a ceremony and an initiation, and I realized this is an absolute privilege, an absolute privilege that the divine has come to me and blessed me with this experience, this knowledge, to have had that experience of being connected to the universe, knowing that yes, Carla is real, but she is just one little tiny expression of the greater all, and that I actually am the greater all. Like Carla is just like a game that I'm here playing. But it's a blessing to have to understand that and to have felt that. And a lot of these concepts I find super interesting because I was already aware of them consciously, and I think people listening to this would be the same. They would have heard it before and understood it, but to feel it, something else. And I guess I'll come back to this at the end, but like when I say it's a privilege that I had this experience, I'll just say again, that doesn't mean that there's a hierarchy, There's no advancing. Like, all that matters is your soul journey, yes, but like there's no comparison. And my understanding of this experience is that it's not something that can be manufactured. It just happens, but everybody is capable. Okay, so when I say that I was privileged, like everybody can have this experience and it will happen when it's meant to happen. If it's meant to happen. Yeah, so I heard that bird, I knew God was with me, and I also, I felt so much love then. So much love, because I knew I was going through this on my own for a reason, and that I was capable, that I am strong, and I am a portal to the other side, and this is special. And I knew, like, I've been training lifetimes for this. I am ready for this. And it's important for me to go through this on my own. I'm like looking to the left because like my bed is there, and you know, that's where I went through this ceremony. And I knew I was going through it on my own. And also then this deeper feeling of like, this is what being self-led is. And I've spoken about it on this podcast, that leadership is not telling other people what to do or how they should improve their lives. Leadership is being self-led. You embody, you know, the principles that you talk about. And when you embody them and you lead yourself first, you know, doing what is right for you, taking risks, like believing in yourself. When you do that for yourself, then other people naturally, you know, want to follow or learn from you. So then in this moment, absolutely no one else was involved. I could not make the feeling go away. I could not talk to a friend and distract myself. Not fucking possible. I just had to go to the absolute depths completely on my own. And I was like, this is being self-led, and I can do this for myself. So I felt so much self-love. And then I also had these feelings of like, you know what? I can get a hug from my mum after this. I can call my friends and I can talk to them after this. And so again, these waves of love and appreciation and gratitude, knowing that I was always supported and never actually alone. Okay, anyway, so then the divine took me where we needed to go. I saw a crow come. Again, this is like within my body. I saw a crow come and it pretty much pecked like my third eye open. And then the crow went through my third eye and we both just like went flying around. Sounds so silly, but like it was spectacular. It was amazing and crazy. And I was like, whoa, cool. And then the crow actually brought me a worm and it wanted to give me the worm. And at first I was like, ew, no thanks, like reject that. I was like, God, I don't want a worm. And then I saw all these visuals, like teachings that, you know, the worms are of the earth and we need them to create nutrients and they are like the greatest source of life. And I got all these downloads about like, this is actually a gift right now and connecting you to the earth. Like it's not a gross, like slimy thing. And I said, oh, okay, I accept the worm then. And I was like given this gift. I know it sounds weird, but like, trust me, it was profound. And again, more visuals of my future. And like still those things I'm not going to share because I can tell I already know they're going to happen. It's for me to know. And knowing these things in my gut changes my energy and how I show up. And I guess they're not something to be marketed with. But additionally, like when you know something is going to happen, the more people you tell, the more you leave that open to the energetic influence of other people. So there's some people I'll tell some things, but anyway, I saw a lot of things in my future that are very, very, very beautiful. And I'm so excited to experience. And I just know in my gut that they're going to happen. And I think that was all on that day. yeah, so it was like 2 days of intense ceremonies. And again, I just focused on resting after that. And from then on, I just felt so called to meditate. The outside world still felt very intense. Like I didn't leave the house for like a week because I just needed to be at home where I was safe. I didn't want to drive. I didn't care about talking to people, showing up for work. Like I would post a little bit to my stories and let people know like I was alive. But yeah, and I also struggled to actually talk about it for a little while because it was pretty traumatic. The times where I was really scared that I was going crazy, I remember, and this is where like I want to be honest about how scary it was. And this is because if you go through it, I want you to know it's okay to feel that fear and it's actually normal. But at one point where I was feeling, the all that is, and I felt kind of disassociated from Carla, it was fucking scary and I couldn't, bring myself back down into my body. And I remember thinking, if this continues, like I will kill myself. I really thought that. And I knew when I said that, like, that wouldn't happen. Like, I knew it would pass. But that's how scared I was. And I'm a little bit, as I say this, I'm even like, oh, should I have said that? What if I triggered people? But, like, that's the fucking truth. That's the truth. Yeah, it was very scary at first. Yeah, and I don't want to pretend to have it all together all the time because I don't. Anyway, so then after that, the days after that, I continued to meditate like a couple of hours a day. And it felt like meditation was my relief. And I felt so calm when I was meditating. And this is where my perspective has expanded, and I'm really excited to bring this into my own meditations, where now, instead of, like I used to shut my eyes and be like, I'm Carla, I'm gonna relax. I now shut my eyes and I literally feel like my soul and I go, oh God, now I can stretch. Like now I'm not stuck in that body. Like I can stretch out my soul, never-ending expansiveness. I don't know how to describe it, but I shut my eyes and yes, I'm 100% in my body. I'm so grounded. I'm really connected to my body. But the black space, as soon as I shut my eyes, it's infinite. And I feel that. And it's such a good feeling. It's really nice. Additionally, I also really feel, like my body is in my soul. And this is something I was consciously aware of before as well, that our soul is not in our body, like our body is in our soul. But something I had to get used to after this Kundalini Awakening was I actually feel that. I actually feel like my body is inside of me. It's a good feeling though. But so I continued to meditate, and then teachers started coming to me in my meditations, beings. I have practices where I keep myself safe. I knew that there were beings of the light and trusted my gut. For example, I have a channeling guide, which is a dragon. I've mentioned before, I have a full dragon back piece, which I absolutely love. I got like a tattoo. I got that dragon tattoo in 2020. The idea came to me in 2019. I didn't have any tattoos before. I liked not having any tattoos. And then one day I was like, I need this dragon tattoo. It's like, it's who I am. And I know now, especially even now, and so, dragons then would visit me in like meditations and dreams and things. I've spoken about that in like my second podcast on Cosmic Batter. And was there something else I was going to say? Anyway, they visited me in a variety of ways. But now that I know that I've had a Kundalini awakening, I find out that Kundalini is known as a snake or a dragon. Riddle me that one, bitches. Like, the dragon came to me in 2019. Anyway, so the dragon is my channeling guide as well, which has become very clear to me in this like psychic development program that I'm in, where we learn how to navigate the space. Yeah. So like one day I was meditating and my channeling guide came to me and he said, this is why you were so afraid of this experience. And we flew over several past lives that I've had where I've had abilities and been rejected by society because of that. In several of these lives, I've been murdered. And I'm just going to fucking own that because that is the truth. And he said, like, because I've been doing the healing work, I've consistently looked at past lives where I've experienced like a severe trauma with these gifts, essentially. And that's why I've been so afraid. Like, yes, the fear from the past life, but also in this lifetime, I've been looking at that they're both relevant. And he was like, come with me because you've had good lives too. And he then showed me a past life where I was actually Native American and I was a woman, and I saw almost like the whole life cycle of this tribe. I'm sorry, I'm not sure if tribe is the correct term, but going from baby to child to maiden to mother to grandmother to elder, and the working with the environment. And I really saw how you could say it like it's all me, and it was all me growing and then seeing and experiencing myself from a different perspective. And I think that's why I got shown this particular life, because I could really very clearly see that life cycle and the evolution of experiencing the self, like interacting with the universe and being reflected yourself. So I hope that makes sense, but it was very beautiful. And there was more, but yeah, I mean, I'll tell you one more. In one life, I came from, and this is one of the very first ones that I interacted with or viewed, but we looked over another life where I was in China and training as a woman, but in martial arts. And I actually was like a really diligent student and ended up kind of traveling the world, like assisting the development of martial arts. But it was also a practice of like worship and connection. And that's why it was important to bring to the world. Like, it was beyond a physical practice. Anyway, and as I was with my channeling guide, the dragon, and we looked over that life again, I've already seen it before, but we looked over it. And I knew that we were appearing as an eagle. And me, this Chinese woman, and like, again, not sure if the culture is exact, but I was a Chinese woman and I was looking up at the eagle. And then my channeling guide and I knew that as we looked at her, we were presenting as an eagle. Isn't that crazy? Some people might be skeptical, but whatever. Yeah, and so through meditation, I continued to get downloads and people coming to me to teach me things like goddesses and things like that. Yeah, a couple of major like pieces of wisdom that I want to share, like off the top of my head. Like, one really big one was that you can't go wrong. You literally cannot go wrong in this life. And everything is happening for you. And I find this so interesting and like understanding this kind of on a deeper level, because from one angle, actually just let me have some water. From one angle, it's like everything is happening for you and everything is curated to you and your soul's journey, and that's all that matters. Like, it's only you. It's only you choosing to do better here right now. And every challenge that you face or every opportunity that you receive is for you. But at the same time, you are 100% interacting with other souls on their own journey. And so I just find that so interesting, because it's like, you know, if you can't go wrong, you can't make a mistake, everything that is being presented to you is curated for you, then that makes it easier to accept challenges and also to forgive yourself. Like, I look back at some of the stuff I've done, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I used to be that person. It's like, well, I had to go through that to be here now, and this is what I've decided to become based off of that experience. So I went through that for a reason. But at the same time, I made those choices in that moment and affected other people because of that. So yeah, you can't go wrong. Everything is for you. Whatever is in front of you right now, that's the gift. That's the opportunity. So I hope that makes sense and helps. It's really helped me to, forgive myself. To not hold on to things that have happened in the past, because it's part of the journey. And I guess like something else I've been contemplating, we don't know what we signed up for. So even as I say that, I believe that as a soul, we do know a lot of what we sign up for. I think we choose many of our experiences or lessons. So we know we're going to experience certain things to get the lesson. So like we know that part. But we don't know which experiences are, say, just a lesson, or if it's karmic, or if it's based on our free will because we fucking created that experience. So even though we signed up for certain things, we don't know like how much of our path is already predetermined, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So then again, you can look back at your younger self and be like, well, maybe that happened because I was paying back a karmic debt from a past life. Or maybe that happened because I had to experience that to become this thing. Like for myself, I believe that I grew up without a connection to like my ancestors for a reason, and that I'm white and Australian like for a reason, and maybe I'm here to express the importance of that for our culture. Maybe it was for me to, maybe I chose to be placed in a situation where I did not have connection to the divine, and that I would experience a lot of soul growth if I could find my way back to connection from the divine. So it wasn't, for example, that I was at a disadvantage because I didn't have that cultural heritage, but that actually I chose to put myself in a position where I could evolve significantly. Yeah. Or what's another example? I used to party a lot. I've spoken about it before. I've done recreational drugs and all the things. I've been in that environment. I know how to navigate that environment. I know how to talk to people. I have no judgment. Literally, like Russell Brand comes to mind. And maybe that's because I needed to experience that to be able to do this work and to be relatable and to be a real fucking human being. And not just someone that's, never ever been exposed to quote unquote like darker areas. And again, then I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I don't have to carry perhaps guilt from that time, because maybe I was taken through that again for a reason. So like owning my choices in it and owning that I'm responsible for my life 100%, but also being like, well, I'm also on a soul path and a particular journey, and maybe that happened for a bigger plan. Cool. So you can't go wrong. And I mentioned that other piece of wisdom, that what is in front of you right now is the gift. This has helped me so much. I'm so excited to share this with you. So I'll use myself as an example. In my business, like I love being in a position of leadership. I love helping people. I love being in community. I love speaking, obviously. But yeah, I love storytelling, all of these things. And so I want to be a speaker. I want to travel the world and like share my work. I want to hold in-person events, which I am planning on doing this year. And like I have done it before. I just want to immerse myself more and more in that. And I see where my success or growth could go. But when I focus on that too much, and I tell myself, this is just a personal example, but like, why do I still live with my parents? Why am I here? Why do I not have more clients right now? Why do I not have enough money? Like, why am I still juggling things? Whatever those fears are, because I want to be somewhere else. Like, I want to be at the end result. That's when I start rejecting the present moment and making it wrong, and therefore telling myself that I am wrong and that I'm not good enough. And that is just going to manifest like more of the same. So it's like, I just really, really understood this. And so even though it's valuable to think about your goals, all of my goals and dreams like still exist. But to get there, it's not about mapping out some plan and trying to climb your way there, trying to build this thing. I use the word manufacture a lot. You're not trying to manufacture how and when your dream comes into place. Your dreams and your goals are real, and you can feel and sense them because they're real. But getting there is all about the present moment, and the present moment that you have in front of you, that is the gift. Okay, now what do I mean by that? When I moved back home with my parents, they would trigger me all the time. They would say things that made me doubt my business, doubt myself. Is it actually working? Am I a failure? Maybe I should go out and get a normal job. All these things. And when I was rejecting the present moment, that would sound like, they are wrong. I would be somewhere else if they weren't holding me back. Their words are really hurtful and they shouldn't say that, like blame and pushing away the present moment. When actually the gift is, these are my insecurities. This is where I'm doubting myself, and they've shone a light on that. I don't know how to say that. They've brought a light onto that. This is where I am using money or clients to validate me and to validate my work, instead of believing in my work no matter what, and being able to validate myself and be grounded in my own abilities no matter what. Excuse me. So the situation that I've been in, even though I love living at home now, but even like, say, not having that much money, not having that much clients over the last years, and so living with my parents, that's the fucking gift, because spirit is like, you need to process these things within yourself if you want to receive that success. If you want to help other people with their confidence, bitch, you need to fucking look at your confidence in this situation right now. Right? And that's what I've been doing. I've been doing so much healing work while I've been at home with my parents, around all sorts of things, my business, my family, my work. And the more that I've done that and like come into myself, the more profound my work has become. You know, in 2021, I was mindset coaching, which is beautiful and powerful, but it was like quite surface level. And now the work that I do with people, like we leave the earth dimension if we need to. It is so profound, the work that I do, getting to the root cause, the transformation that people experience, the way that their reality shifts so rapidly because of what I know and what the wisdom that I can impart with them, and the way that I communicate with people, the way that I show up, the way that I trust my business and have relaxed in it. And so therefore my life has elevated. Like, that is the gift. And so many of us are trying to run away from the present moment by focusing so heavily on our goals and targets and systems and data and creating content every day, that we're actually not sitting in and appreciating, the opportunity, the invitation that we have right now. So I hope that point sinks in. So what did I say? Like, you can never go wrong, and the present moment is the gift. And if you consistently focus on the now moment, what is the opportunity in front of me? That's going to be your fastest way to success. And I've said that before. Now I have like an extra layer of knowledge behind it. Knowledge or wisdom. Like another good example. So I've already mentioned when we're being triggered, and the trigger is the gift. I mentioned my parents. It's not always my parents. I love them. It's just one example. But also, for example, the other day I had nothing to do. Nothing at all. And I thought, I'm kind of bored. Maybe I should go to the beach. Nah, I don't really feel like that. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should go for a walk. And I was bored. And then I thought, oh, hang on. Remember that lesson? What is being presented to me right now? This is the gift that has been delivered to me by the divine. Our prayers are always being answered, and this is what I have received today. A day of nothing. And I thought, oh, well, you know what? Whenever I'm busy, I long for a day of nothing. So now I have that. I'm going to just do nothing. And I'm going to enjoy it. Additionally, I thought, I have so much space, I'm going to meditate again. I think the invitation is to go inwards. And I can tell, especially for myself, after the Kundalini Awakening, my behavior has changed significantly, and that I am being given space to hone those skills, like to make it a habit. So I thought, I have nothing to do because Kundalini doesn't want me to go out and distract myself. It wants me to continue with the teachings and embody the lesson. So then that day of nothing to do, I was like, that is the gift. This is the path to my highest timeline. I feel like that makes sense. I don't want to be repetitive, but whatever you are facing in the now moment, it is the gift and it is the invitation. And I'm so excited to bring this into my work with people and to go so much deeper with them so much faster. Yeah, like I did a Instagram live, like free psychic readings the other day. I was on for 2 hours. It was so much fun. That's the longest I've ever done. It was like an hour and 50 minutes. Anyway, and one woman came on and she's been having a lot of trouble buying a house. And I said, okay. And I tapped into that. And immediately I'm like, the gift for you right now, the invitation, is that you are putting so much pressure on this house to make you happy, to make you feel good, to tick something off the list, to believe that you are successful. And the universe doesn't want you to have it yet because you'll be disappointed. If you're putting all those expectations on your dream house, you're going to move in, feel that way for a week, and then you'll go back to feeling how you felt before. The universe doesn't want that for you. The universe is withholding that so that you can begin to feel that within yourself, to understand like what is making you feel that way. And then that when you're ready, like the house will appear. It will come, and then it will be your dream house, and you'll be able to fill it with yourself and how you already feel. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I feel sort of to wrap up. So the Kundalini Awakening, what it actually is, and I'm going to give you a couple of safety tips as well. What it actually is we have they call it a serpent or a snake of energy coiled around the base of our spine 3.5 times. And over time, like your spiritual practice, meditation, journaling, breathwork, yoga, whatever, like it happens to people even without doing those things. But over time, that energy gets activated and it comes up your spine. So that is why my back was cramping when I had that first real Kundalini Awakening experience, because it's called a spinal sweep, where the energy like shoots up the spinal cord and it opens certain channels. So it's called a spinal sweep, and it opens up these channels in your spine, and it opens your third eye. So, you know, my third eye was already open, but to another level. What I've also understood since then, because I'm in like a group now where other people have experienced it, is that Kundalini is divine consciousness. It has its own consciousness, and it is now guiding me into what is best for me and what is on my highest timeline. And this is another reason why it was kind of scary at the start, because I could feel something else, you know? Like when my body was changing, my heart was racing, I was like, this isn't me that's doing this. Like, where is this coming from? And it's not possession. So you can get that out of your mind. It's not possession. It's not possession. And I have to say that because I did have, when I was confused about what was happening, I did have some people say, like, is this possession? Have you interacted with negative entities? And although they exist and I have seen them and I do believe in them, I felt like this was a really not constructive thing to say, because the Kundalini, once it's activated, it can't be stopped, nor should it. It's the most incredible thing that's ever happened to me. But to then put someone into a state of fear and to be questioning if what they're experiencing is real, that's not good. That's not helpful. And I already said how, you know, early on when I was like, what is happening to me? And I was getting all these downloads and I was scared that I was going to experience psychosis because I was fighting the experience. I actually understand how some people would continuously reject it, and then become out of touch. Like I could feel how if I chose to, I could get so scared and like run away to a corner in my mind. So if someone's having a Kundalini awakening and you say, well, are you fucking possessed by the devil? That's not helpful. And in regards to that, even if someone has like an entity presence, because they're just like negative air, like we all are exposed to them sometimes. The way to get rid of them is to like raise a person's vibration. So it's not about saying, oh my God, you have an entity stuck to you, we have to chop it off. That also is not like constructive. It's about just empowering the person and then they just disappear. So I just wanted to say that because, yeah. But on the flip side, one of the benefits about some of the conversations I had where like one person said, like, was it entities? Are you sure it wasn't negative? I reflected on that and then I was like, no. It was beautiful. It was scary at the start, but it was beautiful. It was incredible. I know it was the divine. I was with God. I forgot to say that. I'll say that now. But I was then able to say to that person, no, actually, I've experienced it. I know what happened to me. I trust my gut. And that actually did help me to ground and be like, no, that there's nothing to be afraid of. It wasn't fucking the devil. Okay, so I actually spoke with God, so I want to share that as well. I can't believe I almost forgot. So this was the second day. Second day, Crow came and opened my eye, my third eye. And then I felt like I, had my eyes shut and I was in that vast black space that has no limit, which I described earlier. And then I just felt this presence of everything and all that is. And it's like I felt myself expand to meet that, to feel that. And that was scary, but in an incredible way. I knew it was all that is. I knew it was source. I knew it was God. And I think the words I heard were like, I am here. And just that, was that feeling again of like, I am with you. And being stretched that far was so intense that then it was like kind of over. But I knew that it was good. And that there's fucking so much more to life. There is so much more to life. And I just, again, feel like I'm here to do so much more. Like, I don't fucking care about like trying to build my business. Like, I just want to do my soul path, and I know the rest will just happen. The rest will just happen. It'll be taken care of, which is such a good feeling. I can't even begin to tell you how good it feels to know that your happiness and your mission and your well-being is actually the top priority. And when you follow that, the rest is just taken care of. So yeah, and then when someone said like, are you sure you weren't like possessed? I sat with that. I'm like, God, am I? Did I channel like a bad spirit? And that's why this happened. And then I've thought about everything that I experienced and the light emanating out of me and the psychic surgery from my ancestors and knowing that I was upgraded. And after that, like my body is changed. And that's why you also experience those intense physiological symptoms, because your DNA fucking changes. And now I feel so called to meditate, to breath work. Like I cannot avoid my feelings, but in a beautiful way. I am just so present. And I was like, yeah, that was a blessing. That was the divine. Okay, I don't even know where I was going before, but the most incredible thing to ever happen to me. So I am changed. I did mention earlier that Kundalini is its own consciousness, and so it has been guiding me. And that's also why things felt so intense at the start. So a good way to understand Kundalini is it expands whatever you focus on, the entire polarity. So when I was like, well, what the fuck is going on? And I felt scared, that was amplified massively, very quickly. And that's why it got scary a couple times. When I come back to gratitude and, oh my God, I am blessed and I was already connected to the divine, and now it's just more so, and I understand more, and I've seen my path, and I know I'm going to be okay. I know I'm going to be supported. Thank you. And like, how can I be of service? How can I help other people? How can I be at my best to help others? Yeah. As soon as you're in that space, that amplifies. And then you feel that love and that divine connection. And so it's the Kundalini like expanding energy, but what I've heard and what actually feels true to me is that's the Kundalini like just fucking quickly guiding you. If you're not meant to be there, you will feel that. If you are meant to be there, you will feel that. Literally now, like I couldn't watch any social media at all for a while. I haven't watched any movies or TVs like for weeks. Like I can't handle it. If it's negative, I immediately like don't feel very good. I can scroll social media now because I've done it, but yeah, not for too long. If I do it for too long or I see something that's negative, my body, I feel like physically unwell. And I'm not trying to be stuck up like social media is bad and I don't do it. Like, no, I used to scroll all the time. I've still done it, like I said. But I get a very intense physical reaction when I'm not supposed to be there anymore. And that's Kundalini being like, on to the next thing. Which is amazing. I think it's so cool. I think I'm like glad that it's not just me holding myself accountable. This is another way that my awareness has expanded. Because, for example, we think that our intuition is us saying this doesn't feel right. But now I actually think that's Kundalini in all of us. If it's divine guidance, if it's the universe, if it's God, whatever you resonate with. But your intuition isn't just you on your own trying to figure it out, or it's not just your body, although like your body is amazing, but it's something bigger than that. And I feel now that I've had this Kundalini activation, I really, really feel connected to that presence. And it's not just my intuition anymore. Like, yeah, amazing. Okay, and there was one more thing I wanted to share. Because like I said earlier, we all have this energy within us and this capacity. Now, the Kundalini Awakening, what's called the spinal sweep, the really intense experience that I had, that was so scary because like I didn't know what was happening, and it was like a full-blown ceremony when I was completely sober. But now I've integrated it. I understand how incredible it is. My life has changed. I'm grateful for the experience. My abilities have elevated. Like I'm dreaming vividly 5 times a night. I'm seeing the future a lot more. All this really cool stuff. So I'm grounded in that. And as I've been educating myself on Kundalini, I realized this is what I was experiencing all along. Like this is where you could say like my psychic abilities come from. And it's just an amplification of what was already there. So just quickly, like in 2021, I had my spiritual awakening. Before that, I was spiritual, but I had my big fitness business. I was with the wrong crowd. Like, I was struggling. And then I knew it was time to change, let go of my old business, let go of old friendships, faced like the pain that came with that, moved back in with my parents, and then weird shit started happening. Like, started having visions. I was friends with a man who taught me a lot about like the psychic realm, the spirit realm, and the things we would talk about were so crazy, and it was such a breath of fresh air because I had been looking for that sort of teacher. Like it was crazy compared to the type of conversations I had before. And it was at this time in 2021, one day I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was wide awake, and I thought, well, 4 a.m. is a little bit too early to get up. And then I saw a beam of light come out of the ether, but kind of out of the roof. And this beam of light came across the room and connected to me. And I practice lucid dreaming, so I knew this is safe. Like I knew it was safe. And I was like, I have to stay relaxed to engage in this experience. Because just like when we dream, if you get really excited, you'll wake yourself up and it will just stop. Like your conscious mind kind of ruins it. So I'm wide awake, saw this beam of light. I said, okay, I just need to be relaxed because this is happening. And then I heard the beam of light sort of power up, like turning something on. It was like, boo. So I saw this beam of light come out of the roof, saw it aligned up with me. I heard it power up, like, and I felt it transmit light energy into me. And I felt my whole body vibrating, and I felt like I was going to vibrate out of the bed, like to levitate. I didn't, but I felt like I was about to. And it felt lovely. It felt really nice. And I knew it was light upgrades. I just knew it was light. And then it ended, but it was amazing. So that was in 2021. And I literally wrote it down straight away, and I put in capital letters, like, I am awake. Like, I was not dreaming. I'm awake. Saw it, felt it, heard it. That's a fucking vision if I ever saw one. And I remember the next day I told my parents, and they were like, cool. Great. Like, they just didn't even blink. And I was like, isn't that amazing? But they just, they're not really interested. They support me, but it doesn't happen to them. Anyway, so I had that light experience in 2021, and it was around that time that, my psychic abilities started coming online. I started to see entities. I was becoming more conscious of when they were floating around my room, and like, oh, sometimes those random noises I hear are spirits like passing through or flying around. So my consciousness was like starting to pay attention to these things. And I, all through like 2021, 2022, I just thought, this is so fun. Love it. And I even remember thinking, like, I wish I had abilities, even though I was actually already engaging with the spirit realm. And my point is that experience in 2021, that light activation, that's Kundalini. So it had actually already happened to me. Just this most recent experience was far more intense and strong, and like the presence was way more significant. Like, this was a 48-hour ceremony, pretty much. Longer than that if you count the lead up. Yeah, but to my point, it had already happened. And when it happened, when I just received that light, I was so chill. But yeah, this time where I was like, what the fuck? And I was scared, that's what made it hard at first. But I also know I had to feel that fear to release it from my body, you know? I was purging again, like trusting more deeply. And so where I'm at now, oh my God, I just want to do healing work with people. I just want to hold space for people and share. I have such a strong calling to be of service. I have been doing free meditations. The internet just cut out in that recording, so I'm praying to God that podcast is fully recorded. And what I was sharing now is, what I'm doing now. So I have such a strong desire to be of service. I'm so excited about my creative abilities, my healing abilities. There is so much that I want to share. So if you are feeling called to a session with me, you can book a healing session. Now, previously, I didn't have once-off sessions available, and now I do. I really want to bring this work to more people, showing you, guiding you to navigate your internal landscape, what it means to feel emotions and release them, and the power of that, of coming into the present moment, releasing worries, releasing energy that is not yours, breaking free from patterns and conditioning and unconscious programming that keeps us not fully present. Okay, but when we do the healing work, we become more conscious and more powerful, both for ourselves and the things that we desire, and making that happen and having an enjoyable journey, like loving our life, but also being more powerful in the work that you do and sharing that with others, which is the best fucking feeling, obviously. So I'm really excited about the healing work I have available. You can book a session with me or message me if you have any questions. Of course, I still have psychic readings available as well. And I'm currently offering some free meditations. So you can join me every Sunday at 9:30 a.m. for these free elements meditations. If you can't come live, you can purchase them. They're really affordable. And these meditations have been phenomenal. They have been so special. Every time I've done one of these meditations, I've been so proud of myself. And I don't pre-plan them, I channel them. The only thing I prepare is the music that I use. So I would absolutely love to share these meditations with you. You can also get the first meditation, which was Earth, because I go through the elements. The Earth meditation is free. So I really strongly encourage you. I would love to share this with you. Like, go and download that now. I'll put the link for the Earth meditation down below. And then if you can come live, or if you purchase the meditations, like, that would be amazing. I highly, highly recommend them because they're so powerful. And the last thing is, obviously I have this psychic program coming up, but I haven't, accumulated the details yet, but I know it's going to be fucking powerful. Like, I've definitely been going through this experience now to birth this program, to prepare me to teach this. And I know this psychic program is going to be all about meditation, connecting with your guides, your soul, knowing your path, and also the healing work. Okay, and I think this is really important. I made a post on this the other day. Healing work is different to the spiritual work. Like, they are intertwined, but they're different. You might have patterns and triggers in your body which are relevant to this life, and those feelings need to be felt and released. Okay, and you also have your spirit guides, your intuition, downloads from the universe, and you can receive that, and that's a different thing. But sometimes what I've seen people do is they get really caught up in the spiritual realm, and, for example, doing like protection spells or cord cutting people that are bad for them, which works to a degree. But if you don't do the healing work and change your patterns in your body from this lifetime, that unconscious stuff, like, then the spiritual stuff isn't going to carry you. And then it's just a band-aid, if that makes sense. So when this psychic program comes out, it will be the healing work and the spiritual work combined, because they are so deeply intertwined, you really can't separate them. But yeah, okay. I mean, if you're interested in working with me, let's book a healing session. I would love to share it with you. This is all for today. I hope you guys got something valuable out of hearing my Kundalini Awakening experience. I'm so excited, it's done now. It is in my DNA. There is no going back. I feel like I'm in a different reality, and I'm having an elevated experience, and I'm so excited for my soul growth on this journey. Like, I really do feel blessed. I feel so blessed with the information that I got and that I continue to have access to. And this is available to everyone. So I'm sure this podcast will be activating for everyone in some way, shape or form. So yeah, much love. And as always, send me a message on Instagram if you have any feedback, or if you love the episodes from Cosmic Matter. I really love to hear your stories and your thoughts. And if anything resonates with you, or you do have an activation, or you realize something about your own spiritual abilities, message me on Instagram. I love you all. I'm so glad to be back and on planet Earth. We'll talk again soon. Bye.